I'm struggling with a moral dilemma regarding a conversation I had with my mom recently. It all stems from the deeply rooted resentment I hold towards my stepdad, Alan, and the complex dynamics within my family. Let me take you back to where it all began. When I was just 10 years old, my world was shattered when I discovered that my mom had cheated on my dad with Alan. Their affair ultimately led to my parents' divorce, leaving my dad devastated. I vividly remember the pain of seeing him drown his sorrows in alcohol, leaving me to pick up the pieces. Despite the turmoil, my dad fought tooth and nail for custody, ensuring that I remained a part of his life. However, my relationship with my mom was irreparably damaged. I couldn't forgive her for what she had done, for tearing apart our family and causing my dad so much pain. Even as she tried to make amends, I couldn't bring myself to forgive her. Every attempt she made to reconcile felt hollow to me, and I rejected her efforts at every turn. Then, there's Alan. Despite his attempts to reach out and bridge the gap between us, I couldn't shake the feeling of resentment towards him. Every gesture, every gift, felt like a painful reminder of the betrayal I felt. And last year, during a particularly heated argument, I let all that pent-up anger boil over. I hurled hurtful words at my mom and Alan, lashing out in a moment of unchecked rage. Alan, tired of my defiance, demanded that I leave their house. In that moment, I felt vindicated in my anger. But as I sought solace with my dad, his gentle words of reproach made me pause and reflect. He made me realize the gravity of my actions and the impact they had on our family. Now, I find myself torn between holding onto my anger and finding a way to move forward. My recent conversation with my mom only served to highlight this internal conflict. I found myself blurting out that I would respect my dad's girlfriend more than Alan, a statement fueled by years of resentment and hurt. But as the words hung in the air, I couldn't help but feel a pang of guilt. Was I being unfair? Was I letting my emotions cloud my judgment? It's a question that has been weighing heavily on my mind ever since. Perhaps it's time for me to confront these feelings head-on, to find a way to heal the wounds of the past and forge a path towards forgiveness and reconciliation. She made a bad choice, but she's still my mother. And then, Dad told me he forgave her. He emphasized that forgiving her was crucial for my own well-being. Dad went on to share insights from his therapy sessions, acknowledging the flaws in his marriage and his journey towards self-improvement over the past 7 years. He opened up about dating someone new and expressed his happiness with his current life situation despite lingering emotional triggers. Hearing about Dad's progress made me reassess my own feelings of anger and resentment towards my mom. While I remained upset with her, I recognized the need to give her a chance. I offered apologies to both my mom and stepdad, as well as to my stepbrother and half-brother, in an effort to foster peace within our family. Meeting Dad's girlfriend was a positive experience. She exuded warmth and kindness, and her 2 young children added joy to our interactions. Despite the age difference between her and Dad, I couldn't help but feel happy for him, knowing that he had found companionship and happiness. However, when I casually mentioned meeting Dad's girlfriend to my mom, her reaction took me by surprise. Her initial smile turned into a frown, and she expressed disbelief at Dad's dating life. As I tried to reassure her about Dad's cautious approach to dating, my mom lashed out, accusing me of hypocrisy. In the heat of the moment, I couldn't hold back my frustration. I confronted my mom about her past actions, highlighting the pain she had caused our family. I expressed my refusal to accept my stepdad as a positive influence in my life given his role in our family's turmoil. In contrast, I acknowledged my respect for Dad's girlfriend, appreciating her role in bringing happiness to Dad's life and restoring a sense of stability to our family dynamic. The confrontation ended with me storming out, seeking solace with a friend as I grappled with the complexities of forgiveness, resentment, and familial loyalty. Despite the emotional turmoil, I remained hopeful that our family could find a path towards healing and reconciliation in the midst of our shared struggles. I deeply regret my words. Reflecting on it now, I realize that I may have misrepresented the situation regarding my dad's new relationship when speaking to my mom. It's important to acknowledge that my dad's relationship with his girlfriend is still in its early stages, spanning only 6 months. In contrast, my parents shared a marital bond for 13 years, and my depiction may have inadvertently downplayed the significance of their former connection. As a result, I feel a profound sense of remorse for the manner in which I conveyed my sentiments. Addressing the insightful comments preceding the update, it's undeniable that actions have consequences, and my mom's decision to end her marriage in the manner she did was undoubtedly impactful. I harbor no sympathy for her or her former spouse. However, there's a valid point raised regarding my continued presence at my mom's residence despite harboring intense animosity towards her and her partner. At 17, I possess the autonomy to choose my living arrangements, and subjecting myself to volatile interactions in an environment filled with disdain seems counterproductive. Moreover, it's essential to consider the well-being of the other individuals residing there, particularly the younger children who deserve a nurturing and stable home environment. My dad emphasizes the importance of maintaining a relationship with my mom, asserting that every child should have the opportunity to engage with both parents. Although I now primarily reside with my dad, he encourages me to foster a connection with my mom. However, drawing from personal experience, I understand the emotional toll of being thrust into a contentious environment against one's will. The turmoil surrounding visitation arrangements with my father prompted distressing confrontations and late-night pleas to return home to my mom. Eventually, legal intervention was sought, culminating in a custody ruling that mandated visitation despite the adverse effects on my well-being. While acknowledging my mom's role in fracturing the family dynamic, I also recognize the potential impact of my actions. It's possible that my portrayal of my dad's newfound happiness with his girlfriend may have inadvertently exacerbated tensions with my mom. In hindsight, I realize the importance of fostering understanding and empathy in navigating complex familial relationships, even amidst deep-seated emotions and past grievances. I find myself caught in the midst of a whirlwind of emotions and revelations, grappling with the complex dynamics of family relationships and the aftermath of past betrayals. The journey I've embarked upon is one of introspection, forgiveness, and the quest for understanding amidst the chaos of conflicting feelings. Reflecting on my father's new relationship, I am plagued by uncertainty about its longevity and the potential for future heartache. Despite my reservations, I recognize that acknowledging his newfound happiness is not tantamount to dismissing the pain caused by my parents' fractured marriage. It's a delicate balancing act, acknowledging the past while tentatively embracing the present. In the wake of my casual mention of my dad's girlfriend to my mom, the ensuing confrontation shed light on deeper-seated issues bubbling beneath the surface. The outpouring of support from this community has been a beacon of solace amidst the tumult, yet there are misconceptions that require clarification. The criticism levied against my father for his past struggles with alcoholism fails to capture the full scope of his journey towards redemption. While his initial response to my mom's infidelity may have been marred by alcohol-fueled coping mechanisms, his subsequent commitment to sobriety and self-improvement is commendable. His unwavering dedication to rectifying past mistakes and fostering a supportive environment for me to heal speaks volumes about his character. However, placing sole blame on my father for the dissolution of our family overlooks the complexity of the situation. My mother's betrayal and subsequent actions have left scars that run deep, fracturing not only her relationship with my father but also the bonds of trust within our family unit. The decision to prioritize personal desires over the sanctity of marriage has far-reaching consequences that cannot be brushed aside lightly. Moreover, the revelation of my stepfather's betrayal of friendship adds another layer of complexity to an already fraught situation. The dissolution of his relationship with my father underscores the collateral damage wrought by my mother's infidelity, further complicating the landscape of familial relationships. Despite the turmoil, I am committed to fostering a sense of reconciliation and healing within my family. Initiating therapy sessions with my father and broaching the subject of family therapy are small steps towards rebuilding fractured bonds and fostering open communication. However, the road ahead is fraught with challenges, and navigating the intricacies of forgiveness and reconciliation will require patience, empathy, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. When I spotted him with his girlfriend at the local market, it dawned on me that Dad indeed had a new partner. While I refrained from informing Mom about this development, she took it upon herself to delve into the depths of social media to track down his girlfriend. How she managed to unearth her Facebook profile remains a mystery to me. My stepdad caught her red-handed on several occasions, scrolling through pictures of Dad and his girlfriend. Their heated argument revolved around Mom's apparent obsession with Dad's new flame, accusing her of crossing boundaries and verging on stalking. In light of this unsettling revelation, my stepdad suggested a temporary hiatus from communicating with mom, citing her need to recalibrate her own boundaries. I'm at a loss for words. Some of you have suggested that mom's behavior stems from jealousy over dad moving on, and perhaps that's the crux of it. I'm unsure whether I'll provide further updates, but until then, I bid you all farewell. I'll be focusing on my therapy sessions, endeavoring to untangle the complexities of my family dynamics on my own. An additional note, I'm growing weary of the relentless barrage of messages and comments insinuating that my dad was a negligent parent who exploited me as his caretaker. It's disheartening to see some of you assert that mom was justified in her actions, as if cheating on dad and abandoning our family was an acceptable course of action. Allow me to set the record straight. My dad was not a lifelong alcoholic. His struggles with alcohol only surfaced when he confronted mom about her affair, and it was a transient phase lasting about a year. As for the incident involving his illness, let me reiterate, it was a singular occurrence, and I took it upon myself to clean up the mess without hesitation. Yet, you choose to fixate on this isolated incident, oblivious to the countless sacrifices and unwavering support he has provided me with throughout the years. He's been there for me through sickness and health, selflessly attending to my needs without complaint. It's baffling to witness the narrative shift, with some of you vilifying my father based on a solitary incident, while conveniently overlooking his steadfast commitment to my well-being. Let's not forget that deadbeat dads don't fight tooth and nail for custody or invest in their children's therapy. It's disheartening to see Opie seeking solace in this community, only to be met with baseless accusations against her father. It's time to acknowledge the complexities of familial relationships and refrain from perpetuating harmful stereotypes. I took on the role of caregiver for my dad when I was just 10 years old. It wasn't a task he assigned me. Rather, I did it out of love for him. It's reminiscent of another post I read, where a husband's infidelity led to the dissolution of his marriage, leaving his wife shattered when he discovered her moving on with a family friend. Here, it's the mom who strayed with a family friend, and now she's crumbling upon learning that dad has found companionship with a younger woman. It seems that her mother is primarily focused on herself. Instead of addressing the underlying issues in her marriage, she took the easy way out by cheating. She's been urging her daughter to let go of her resentment towards her stepdad without putting in the effort to mend their own relationship, perhaps through therapy. I agree that Alan instructing her not to call her mom might exacerbate their rift. What strikes me is that her mother's breakdown wasn't triggered by her deteriorating relationship with her daughter, but rather by her ex-husband moving on after 7 years. Dad, on the other hand, put in the effort to improve his situation and his relationship with her. I fail to grasp the animosity directed towards him in the comments. Her mother may have offered apologies, but it seems she doesn't grasp the root of her daughter's lingering pain. Material gifts can't substitute for genuine understanding and reconciliation. It's absurd that her mother expected her to refer to her affair partner as her father, disregarding the bond she already shares with her dad. The attempt to recreate a picture-perfect family setting reflects her shallow concern for her daughter's well-being, prioritizing her own idealized narrative over the reality of their fractured family. In the last story, Amadir Hall recounts a recent conversation where her stepdad proposed changing her last name to his. In a recent heartfelt conversation with my stepdad, he expressed a desire for me to adopt his last name to avoid feeling like the odd one out in our household. He emphasized that although I might not be his daughter by blood, he has always regarded me as such. Gratefully, I declined his offer, affirming my attachment to my own last name. Our family's history is complex and layered with various dynamics. My parents went through a divorce when I was just a year old, and my older sister was 8. Within a relatively short span of 18 months, my mom remarried my stepdad, who, at the time, had no children of his own. While my sister was hesitant to accept him as more than just our mom's husband, he made concerted efforts to establish a fatherly bond with me. Although his attempts sometimes left me feeling uneasy, particularly as I matured, I recognized and appreciated his genuine intentions. Tragedy struck our family when my biological father passed away 4 years ago. His demise was preceded by a tumultuous period marked by the sudden deaths of his parents and uncle within a matter of weeks. These events triggered a downward spiral into addiction, ultimately leading to his untimely death. The loss of not only our dad but also our paternal family members left my sister and me utterly devastated. Last year, during my sister's wedding, she asked me to walk her down the aisle and share a dance with our stepdad. It was a poignant moment that highlighted his significant role in our lives. However, it saddened me to see him merely listed as my mom's husband in the wedding documentation, as he has played a substantial parental role in shaping who we are today. Reflecting on these past events, I've come to realize that both my mom and stepdad expected my sister and me to view our dad differently due to his struggles with addiction. However, despite his imperfections and the challenges he faced in his final year, he remained our dad, a steadfast source of love and support throughout our childhood. I firmly believe that he loved us deeply despite his battles and shortcomings. My stepdad wasn't pleased with my refusal of his offer. He informed my mom about our conversation, and they both confronted me. I acknowledged that I may have been too hasty in dismissing his feelings and admitted that I should have taken more time to consider his proposal. He emphasized his love for me and expressed his desire not to feel sidelined for the rest of his life. My mom chimed in, suggesting that despite my love for my dad, I should recognize his imperfections, particularly in his final year, and be more open to nurturing a deeper relationship with my stepdad. As for the therapy mentioned in the comments, I have a particular aversion to partners and step-parents who assume a parental role without considering the child's feelings or needs. Even parents who allow their partners to do so don't sit well with me. While I believe my stepdad is likely a decent person with good intentions, it's crucial for him to understand that my perception of our relationship should be determined by me, not him. Pressuring me into accepting a parental role leaves a bitter taste, and I refuse to be manipulated into something I'm uncomfortable with, regardless of the intentions behind it. Resentment will inevitably brew if I'm coerced into actions I don't endorse, and ultimately, it's not doing anyone any favors. If genuine concern for my well-being is the driving force behind wanting to be seen as a parent, then it's essential to respect my boundaries. I appreciate the support and encouragement to stand my ground while maintaining a respectful demeanor.